to What She Said Sports. It is the Lunch and Stream series. Welcome back. It's Monday. All right. So first, I want to say welcome to the new members that the What She Said podcast community has since the weekend. We have Juanette joined us last week. We have Echo That Media, Jungle Brother joined us, and Monique. So I want to say welcome to everybody. And I did send out a welcome to the podcast community on the members section. So I hope everybody got it. And I just want to say thank you. We are growing as a podcast community and people are taking notice. So welcome everybody. We'll give people a chance to join us. Hey, Charlotte, how are you? And we'll get going. I don't know if y'all had a chance to see, but Shedeur went live on Twitch. This time I was not at the coffee shop. In fact, one of the things that I noticed when Shedeur was live on Twitch is what I want to talk about today, which feeds into the caption, right? Shedeur is winning over Cleveland, winning in Cleveland, the pseudo quarterback competition, and with the next generation of NFL fans. Hey, Good Food, how you doing? Hey, Amber, how are you? Hey, Gail, welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so Shedeur Sanders was live on Twitch today, and he appeared to be at a camp for the Cleveland Browns. He had on his Browns jersey, and all of the kids who seemed to be maybe between elementary and middle school had on their Browns jersey as well, and he had on the name badge. So some kind of official camp for the Browns, and Shedeur decided to live stream on Twitch from there. And the kids typically the same thing, W to chat. But it's what they say at every time he's live. One, they absolutely love Travis Hunter. Each group that Shedeur is around is always asking about Travis. Is he on the stream, etc. Right? And I saw Travis look like he was filming an Adidas commercial. They had him fishing, which is his passion, which means Adidas is paying attention. Um, so while he's out filming, Adidas ad, over here we got, Shedeur twitching and people asking about Travis. So, that goes into the whole prime time TV slot that we talked about yesterday. And we talked about how it's the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys and the Buffalo Bills have the most primetime games, right? And we're discussing like, what is this? What is this driven from? What is this around? What's the strategy, right? Because one, we noticeably absent is who? Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles and Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles, right? A team that I feel like the league intentionally decimated to make sure they, make it harder for them to get back to the Super Bowl. Now I noticed that they were absent, but guess who else is absent? If kids everywhere are asking about Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders has the number one selling jersey. Travis Hunter has the number two selling jersey. Do these rookie teams, the teams that they're leading, do they not get primetime slots? So how does that work, right? Is this set up like before the draft? But it seemingly came out after the draft. So, I don't understand the NFL strategy, and it's definitely not marketing in a traditional sense. And what I mean by that is, when you're in marketing, you obviously go after what's going to generate the most views, what fans are interested in. Companies spend billions on data just to collect and understand what it is their target audience is interested in. And that's what they're going to put forth, right? So if my target audience is, a demographic held between the age of 18 and 60, and I see that, they're always online or they're buying things relegated to travel, then I know they like to travel. So when I put out ads and I put out products, I'm going to somehow make them travel related because I'm going to want to gravitate towards their interests so I can get them as new fans, right? As new customers, not the NFL. The NFL is like, well, uh, we like Pat Mahomes and we owe him $400 million. So let's put him on TV the most. And yeah, we got Dak, Dallas. Dak, we owe him $60 million a year, and he make the most out of anybody on a yearly basis. So let's put him and the Dallas Cowboys out there. And three, the Buffalo Bills. We just paid Josh Allen $330 million, and we promised him 65% of it fully guaranteed. So we don't need to put him out here. That's what it appears the strategy is. who they owe the most money to. So this who I'm gonna put out here. Hey, that's not that's not how you treat your fan base. You don't just put anything out there and just, oh, they're gonna watch whatever we put out there. Well, we shall see. Because if the number one and number two selling jerseys don't belong to anybody in Kansas City, don't belong to anybody in Buffalo or Dallas, what does that tell you? Right? Or are they saying the people that watch the games on TV are not the same people that buy the jerseys? So, I thought about it. Every time Shedeur is live, these kids asking about Travis, and they telling Shedeur in Cleveland today, oh, you going to the Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, that's very possible if Cleveland gets the hell out the way. But the point is, with the next generation who might be watching the game with their families at home, all huddled around on TV, why is Travis Hunter and or Cleveland, why do their teams not have some top slots? So to me, it speaks volumes about why the NFL goes through the trouble of shunning its rookies and stripping them of any fame because they don't want fans wanting to see the next generation coming in. They want you to look at the 2% battery lifers and the guy who won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, not the guy who won the Super Bowl this year. That's what we are. I mean, that's just really what we are. And when companies get to a point where they tell their fan base, we don't give a damn what you want to see. We don't even care what the next generation want to see. This is what we want to do. That's how you lose. That's the beginning of the end. And that started with the NFL draft, right? It started with the draft. We don't care about talent. We just want to get Jackson Dart. And the kids were asking Shedeur about Jackson Dart or saying things, right? And he said, no, we're friends. He was letting them know, no, it's no bad blood between Jackson Dart and I. And that's probably true. The bad blood is with the New York Giants. That's where the bad blood is. It's not Shedeur and Jackson Dart. I told y'all, Jackson Dart got a little chain that say Dart. He wear his hat to the back. He was dancing on the field. You didn't hear anything, just like at the combine. So I like how Shedeur was basically steering the kids towards positivity. We're friends, we're friends. That means that they have heard some things where the NFL is trying to pit Shedeur against Dart, and you see how they're picking it up, right? Just like they ask about Travis all the time. They know Travis is next up, right? Just like they saying Shedeur is going to the Super Bowl. They know he's that guy, right? But see, the NFL doesn't seem to care about that fan base, meaning the next generation. They don't seem to care what the fans who watch the games on TV want to see. The Super Bowl winner, the rookies that's coming up, right? No, it's not about that. So that means it's not about your fan base. And Cam caught it straight. He sure did on this latest live Twitch. Cam gonna have to work on his perception because the kids are spot on. The kids telling you when you listen to the Twitch without realizing, they're telling you what they've heard. Shedeur can go to the Super Bowl, which means what? He the best one in Cleveland. Check. So they, right? Travis Hunter, right? Because we said what? The NFL wants to make Travis Hunter what? The face of the NFL, but they don't have him on any prime time games. So that's not true because we should see Travis on everything. We see Jacksonville putting out Travis. We see Carolina putting out Jimmy Horn Jr. We see Cleveland talking about Shedeur incessantly and he frustrated. So you have the media in direct opposition to the organization's positioning of the quarterbacks. And then you have the kids picking all of it up. And when Shedeur's live on Twitch, it tells you what they took away with, what they went away with. They went away with Cam is the worst quarterback in the league. Now, I don't know where they got that from, other than they probably heard people talking about what? Cam's intense personality. Because he said a swear word. I have listened to 2 podcasts, and one of them I know for sure is monetized. And I don't even know how they still on the air. Right? And all of these kids had socials, right? So the kids are the next generation. That's who the NFL should be listening to also. You can't just go, oh, don't listen to them when they out there with kid-sized Browns jerseys on at camps that either were free, and even if they cost money or they were free, it took time and effort for them to go, right? And they sent Shedeur out there, and y'all know the kids love Shedeur. And that's what they came away with. They also love Travis. So why these guys, when they got drafted and the primetime slots being given out afterwards, why didn't they decide? Well, let's put Jacksonville on. Let's put Cleveland on. Why they not actually doing marketing? They're leading with bias. And whatever they wallet, what bill is due, that's who y'all gonna see on TV. So it's essentially saying you might as well even watch the game on TV. Not if you want to see the Super Bowl winner. Not if you want to see what the next generation. Not if you want to see the rookies that just came in who are pro ready. Does anybody doubt that Travis Hunter is pro ready? No. Does anybody doubt that Cam Ward is pro ready? Absolutely not. And if Shedeur Sanders were drafted where he was supposed to be in the number 2 spot because it's documented to Cleveland, nobody will be questioning whether he's pro ready. See, what y'all have to come to understand is the NFL knows Shedeur is pro ready. That's why they work so hard to hold him back and take him off the board in the draft. They don't want him to be pro ready. But if he truly wasn't, you would have never heard the end of it. So the NFL is hustling backwards. Hustling backwards. This is the beginning of the end until they get it together. And what I mean by that is no, there's not another league that has come along yet to my dismay. Yes, I think there should be a black owned, black led league. Absolutely. With the way these guys get treated, absolutely. 40 rookies holding out because their guarantees are in jeopardy, or because 2 players, one who went to the Texans and one who went to the Browns, both teams in the Deshaun Watson fully guaranteed contract, because 2 in the second round got fully guaranteed contracts. So again, what was the strategy for that? Does it have anything to do with Deshaun Watson's contract? And you willing to just disrupt your season because you got guys holding up and they not budging. And maybe people feel like there's no need to talk about this right now. Because why? They're gone for the summer. People pointed out how Shamar Stewart is holding out. And I told y'all, Travis Hunter ain't signed his contract either. Shamar Stewart hadn't signed his contract either. What's the difference? Somebody said, well, the difference is Shamar Stewart didn't show up and Travis Hunter did. I'm like, who works without a contract? Who works without a contract? Because see, when you go out there and you work without a contract, you're telling them no need for you to resolve this because I'm gonna be right here. Shamar Stewart is like, I'm out. Imagine if the 40 people that are holding out are all holding out for the same thing. Something to do with guarantees, whether you want to void my future guarantees or if I'm in the second round and you don't want to give me a guaranteed contract, but you want to give 2 of my peers guaranteed contracts. Imagine if all 40 of them said, we out. If they stuck together and said, no, you're going to keep showing up, but you want them to fix it. If you show up, they're not going to fix it. If they know you love the game and you're not going to walk away from it, what you doing? You might as well sign it. Because they have the upper hand if you keep showing up. They don't think you mean business. And as you can see, the media is not going to talk about this. I'm going to be one of the few people talking about this because I was in a conversation on X. And I said, Travis Hunter hadn't signed his contract. Why they not talking about it? And somebody said, because Shamar Stewart didn't show up. So that means the only person they take it seriously is Shamar Stewart. Because the rest keep showing up. That's where they are. This is the beginning of honestly what could be the end of the NFL as you know. Because see, what they're gonna have to do is go out and get another audience. And technically they have, and you're starting to see the beginning of that. And you can get whoever you want. Well, why is it that the WNBA and the NFL, why they can't respect the fans they have? You're just gonna go get and try to curate a new audience and get them on the hook. And then the next thing you know, you're gonna be back in the same situation. Because the 2 guys in the second round, the number 1 and number 2 picks in the second round, they could have got those guaranteed contracts anytime after Deshaun Watson went to Cleveland. But they got them after the NFL lost a collusion case to veterans about Deshaun Watson's contract being the only fully guaranteed, and they couldn't get one. What's the strategy in that? After you lose, and they say you colluded against the veterans, now you collude against the rookies. Oh, well, we can do what we want to do. So I can only give the two people in the first round guaranteed contracts. Forget the rest of y'all. See, the guarantee problem in the NFL is problematic because why? You don't see Major League Baseball fighting. They have guaranteed contracts. Otani, 700 mil, fully guaranteed. Travis Hunter wanted to be the number one pick in the draft because his contract would have been like Cam Ward's, fully guaranteed. So it don't matter what they think about Cam Ward's intense personality now. Had they studied him or at least watched social media, they would have known exactly who he is. And that's why they don't like guarantees because they don't bother to get to know these people. And then they give them fully guaranteed money. And then what? They end up on a boat with peak substance. And I got to look away because what am I going to do? I gave him a fully guaranteed contract. That's not how you do that. You're supposed to be vetting these people, which tell you they don't even know Shedeur. They just lied on him, point blank, period. Because just like Briscoe back in Denver in the early 70s or late 60s, they didn't want Briscoe to be their quarterback. They don't want Shedeur to be a starter in the NFL. They don't care what the fans want to see on TV regarding the rookies that everybody's talking about, Shedeur and Travis, or the Philadelphia Eagles winning Super Bowl squad with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. They don't care about that. Mind you, over 100 million people, 133 million people watched what? Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl. Where they watched it at? Because they all couldn't fit into one stadium. They watched it on TV. So why they don't care about the TV? Why they don't care about the primetime slots? Why they don't bring up the Jacksonville? Why they don't bring up Carolina Panthers? Carolina can't talking about Jimmy. So if you're gonna put somebody on the primetime slots, you know who it ought to be this year if you care about your audience? It ought to be Philadelphia with the most time slots, and at least Jacksonville. And if you wasn't out here trying to hold Shedeur back from the number one spot, Cleveland, and then maybe Kansas City because they won last time. That's what it should be. That's what it should be. It should be what the fans want to see. I'm sure their fans want to see Kansas City, but hey, they have done nothing to be first. So put them forth. Whereas you out here making 250 million off of Shedeur, put Cleveland up there. And people can't stop talking about Travis, put him up there. So it should be Philadelphia, Jacksonville, Cleveland, and what? Kansas City. That's how you get the audience that got together and watched halftime show to come back and watch what? Primetime games. Oh, you don't care about that 133 million. That was just a one-time thing. You're not willing to grow that audience that love Kendrick Lamar's halftime show. So the NFL is sending out messages to its fan base that's interested and that pays attention. Oh, we just gonna put this on so you can watch this because we got bills to pay. We're not gonna show you who NFL fans want to see. We're not gonna show you who the next generation coming up that we have at our camps in our jerseys after we just sold them jerseys, who they want to see. That's the NFL. And it's disappointing because as somebody who grew up watching football, up until this year, I didn't know it was like this. I didn't. I didn't know it was like this at all. We saw what happened with Colin Kaepernick. And you know what? Stephen A came back and said, he said that, and I don't know his motivation for saying this, right? He could be trying to deflect away from why Colin Kaepernick was truly blackballed. He made it seem like they were upset with him because that $250 million TV rights check they got was less because people stopped watching, or the people that they wanted to watch stopped watching. That's what He was basically trying to say it wasn't about race, it was about the money. If it's really about the money, so why in 2025 would they blackball Shedeur like they Colin Kaepernick? He ain't even playing the league yet. So was it really about the money? Or was Stephen A doing what the media does for the NFL, aid and abet? Let me know your thoughts. We don't see who's in here. Hey, just left Shedeur Twitch stream. Okay, Amber. Okay, I got some of it. I don't reuse it, but I did get some of it. Hey, Jerry, how you doing? It said the real truthful stories come from the team's public relations, development talent, the development talent team for the draft. Okay, so they announced it after the draft. So if it's made months before the draft, that explains why there's absolutely no rookie teams that people want to talk about and see. You're not going to tell me they can't adjust that schedule, by the way. It could come out before, but you're not going to tell me they can't adjust it, right? And why would it come out before the draft if we're being honest? If the draft is so early in April, it's not even 6 months in. It's not. You could adjust it. And they probably going to make adjustments to it. So that takes care of the rookies, right? But what about Philadelphia? Why is Philadelphia not the most primetime games? Why is it the people that they owe the most money to? The teams that they play on? Answer that one. So you say, okay, the rookie's not a part of it. And I know they can make adjustments. Why is Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts not at the top of the list when it comes to watching primetime games, the most primetime games, considering they just won the Super Bowl? See, when you put them to the side like that, you telling your fans the Super Bowl doesn't matter. We just want to see Kansas City. Do they really want to see Kansas City, or is that what you putting in front of them? And they don't have a choice. Salute. No recipe needed. 16, 17, and 18. It said they go to past Nielsen ratings. That's outdated, bro. Nielsen ratings are real time. Nielsen ratings are real time. There is no reason why the NFL is the only company not looking at what fans want to see. And the biggest draw. The Super Bowl had the biggest draw. Who was the winner? The Philadelphia Eagles. That's who should have the most primetime slots. Nielsen ratings are real time. They can take the Super Bowl views and run with that. That's all you need. You don't even need anything else. And here's the thing. You're going to tell me the fans want to see Dallas. The whole NFL wants to see Dallas. No, they don't. That's how Dallas gets forced down people's throat. Why? Because they overpaid them and they want their money back. It's not a coincidence that the top three primetime slots or the quarterbacks that they make owe the most money to. That's what they're doing. The rest is just something to deflect. Hey, Amber, the kids know the tea. Yeah, the tea, because they listen. Just like those overgrown children who caught themselves trying to humiliate Shedeur Sanders at whose behest? Because they heard what? Just like these kids out here at camps, those overgrown adults heard what? The beratement and disparagement about how Shedeur was going to be treated in the draft, which lets you know what? That's how the Ole Miss caller knew Shedeur wasn't getting drafted because they were talking about it around him. So there you go with that randomness. It wasn't random at all because there's no way a random person would have known Shedeur was not going to the Saints. That was insider executive level information and up. So thank you for that, Amber. The kids know the tea. Actually good. It said I was laughing so hard. Yeah, them little kids are funny. They are funny. K Hayes said the NFL is definitely taking advantage of CU players' popularity. Facts. You know, we're gonna draft you late, which affects your pockets, but then we have you out here. All the receivers Harbaugh got, Lajante is number 2 on his roster, not number 1. And he was drafted in what, the 6th round? And they waited until Shedeur got drafted. Now here's the thing. Let's be honest. Let's set that up again. Let's go right back to draft night. Well, I wasn't the only one that noticed once Shedeur got drafted, all the CU guys came afterwards. So if they took CU off the board, and they weren't going to draft him. Were they ever going to draft the guys that got drafted after Shedeur? Or was everybody from CU going to be undrafted free agents? There you go. Those teams don't win and fan bases aren't large enough to draw the TV views. I think the networks picks the games they want. They definitely pick the games they want. But you're not going to tell me Philadelphia's fan base is not large enough to get views because the Super Bowl will tell you otherwise. Echo Media, welcome, new member. All right, it says, I keep saying Echo Media. This is each one, teach one. Okay, some things you can't unsee, unhear, and most importantly, unfeel. Yep, there's only one, two. Blue Moon. Good day, fam. Good day. It said that marketing tactic has been tried already way before the NFL network came about. They are going to where the money is. Okay. Okay. The money not in Philadelphia? Because I know that's a lie. Oh, I know that's a lie. Everybody know the money is in Philadelphia. Everybody who knows anything about business and economics in this country knows the money is in Philadelphia. Everybody knows that. So that's not true. This is what they want to do. It's not a coincidence. See, you say they do it because that's where the money at. They do it because that's what they want to do, and people just follow along. I don't have a choice. If I had a choice to watch Philadelphia, I don't know, versus somebody else prime time, maybe that's what I would watch. It's not a coincidence the way they treat Jalen Hurts and how they dismembered that team. That they didn't get the prime time slot, even with Saquon Barkley. Now you gonna tell me the fans don't want to see Saquon Barkley? That's a lie. That's the absolute lie. They doing what they want to do and what feeds their pockets. And it's not the generation of the money. It's the fact that I owe Dak 60 million this year. I owe Pat Mahomes 400 million, and I just gave Josh Allen 300 million. Yeah, that's what that is. That's exactly what that is. Look at the list of who makes the money, and that's the games. That's what they're tied to. And the fans see the NFL is just like Dallas. See, what did I say about Dallas? Dallas is resting on its laurels from back in the day before any of us were probably watching them. What did you hear these kids say? Who are they talking about? Right? Who are they talking about? Do they have money to spend? Did they go out and buy those jerseys? No, their parents did. But see, people want to discount them, but they gonna rise up like that. And the way people love their kids these days, Mama, I want $100 jersey that's in my size. I want to go to this camp where the Browns gonna be. Okay, you gonna dismiss those parents? They over 18, 25. You gonna dismiss that group? They want to get the 18 to 25 group, right? How old is Shedeur? How old is Travis? That's their age group. Who dismisses 18 to 25? That's why they don't have the 18 to 25 generation. Because they want to stay with Papa Aaron Rodgers and they want to stay with Papa Joe Flacco. They want to stay with the 2% battery life. That's why they don't have 18 to 25. You know, when you ask somebody 18 to 25, when they talk about older people, they think they were around when Jesus was a boy. That's how they look at it. That's grandpa. And in some people, it is their grandpa. 42, 18, yeah. Or my uncle. So they want to put Unc and them out there, prime time. Pat Mahomes ain't no spring chicken either. And they didn't win last year. And as poorly as they lost, why you don't put Philadelphia out there to get all of those fans? Did y'all see New Orleans after the Super Bowl? They were there. There is money in Philadelphia. The NFL is now going for the international fans. Facts. I believe that for sure. That's why they are playing more games internationally. Yep, they have 6 games internationally, and they taking their politics with them. So let's see how it works out. Because if you watch international news, it's way different. If you watch international ads, oh, it's way different. See, they speak their mind over there faster than they speak their mind over here. And they got to compete with soccer. Just because I'm playing more games. And I want you to look at where they're choosing to play these games. They're trying to get the Irish fan base, right? The German fan base. Look at where they're trying to grow internationally. But think about who's the global majority, right? So they're gonna take their politics with them. Enjoy. Philadelphia regular season games does not outdo any Giants or Jet games. If people are just watching, I mean, honestly, if the Giants fans are the ones who are revolting, I didn't say anything about the Jets, by the way. If the Giants fans are the ones revolting against the Giants, yeah, maybe they do not want Colorado to also be QB to also be the best position on. That's I don't know if it has anything to do with Colorado, but I know it has everything to do with 16, 17, and 18. Milrow went to Alabama. They didn't want him either. And Cam, he was a last minute decision, and he should have been. Tennessee should have been solid on Cam the way Jacksonville was solid on Travis. Tell me I'm wrong. Hey, Freeman, welcome back. Welcome back. A Super Bowl sold out game does not constitute a whole season of outdoing you. It doesn't. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't start the next season giving the team that won the Super Bowl at least the most primetime games. I mean, why is it Buffalo? What the hell did they do? If that's the case, it should be Baltimore. Shedeur is developing a fan base besides him giving back. It's called leveraging. Yeah, Shedeur is smart. And it's Shedeur is leveraging the community, but Cleveland isn't. But they want that. See, what y'all not picking up on is the WNBA, they don't want the fans they have. They want to flip their fan base into somebody else who probably not going to watch their product. What did they get? They got families with little kids. That's who they should have went after in the first place. Who did I say was in the background when Shador was on Twitch? The kids. You see, people spend money to bring their kids that are interested in these sports to these games, to put them in these camps. And you going to ignore that fan base? You going to ignore the kids and the parents that have the money because the kids don't have no money. But no, they want to get who? They want to get Papa to come watch the game on TV. I don't know why Papa wouldn't want to watch Saquon Barkley. Anybody know? Tell me that. Tell me the people that watch the game on TV, which is a lot of people, and a lot of people would come back if they showed the next generation. You think people can't see what the NFL is doing? Trying to hype Aaron Rodgers up, and people like, okay, we can't even get hyped. Because why? We saw what he did in the Jets, and how did he get there? How you gonna get hyped about Flacco again when he went to Indianapolis and he wasn't good? All this talk about Flacco and Shedeur, I'm like, cool, I'm cool with it. Flacco has not played a full season in damn near 10 years. And he knows it. They talking about Kenny Pickett is panicking. I don't know why. Other than they uprooted him from a Super Bowl winning team to take him to a circus. I wouldn't be panicking, I would be pissed. And that's more like it anyway. That's more like it. But you can push it over behind Pickett if you want to. Now they saying Dylan's height is a problem. Dylan's height was a problem before the draft. He wasn't even better than Shedeur. So his height should have never come into the equation here. But see, they want to make the best QB the fourth string QB. And why is that? 16, 17, and 18. Because when you look at the top three games, they have the most primetime games, the top three teams. Pat Mahomes, Dak, and Josh Allen. What y'all know about Pat Mahomes and Dak? What y'all know about them two? All right. Shedeur don't have it. Shedeur, Cam, and Jalen Milrow don't have it. We know exactly who they are. They're not ambiguously black in any way, shape, or form at all. And when you turn on your TV and you start seeing, if you played, 18 games, half of those are two black quarterbacks. They don't want that. They telling you what they want to see and what they willing to do by who has the most prime time games. That's why 16, 17, and 18. They already have him number one in the draft. It said, yes, Cleveland will be in London. Yup, it will be. It's not by accident that the colors of the Cowboys are gray and blue, still fighting the Civil War. You know, there's a documentary about the Cotton Bowl, its name, and the Sugar Bowl in its name. So, yes, a lot of that is why you see what you see happening. Do y'all realize that they playing in a cotton bowl, in a sugar bowl, a cotton plantation, a sugar plantation? Do y'all realize that? Think about it. All the bowl games names have changed, right? Uh, Sometimes they have sponsors' name in front of them, but when they don't, okay, we have Pop Tart Bowl. Nobody's mad at that. The Peach Bowl, that's just fruit, right? If you put a company's name in front of it, it could be Mercedes-Benz Peach Bowl, but it's a Peach Bowl. It's fruit, right? The Rose Bowl, that's flour, right? You can put a sponsor's name in front of it if you want to or not, but the point is, it's a flour, right? Um, and a lot of the new bowls that come on now are geographical, a New Orleans Bowl, a Birmingham Bowl, you know, but the ones that they deem to be the ones, the Cotton Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, those names should have been gone a long time ago. Long time ago. Remember, the NFL came along in 1920. College football was before that. I think Colorado go back to the late 1800s or early 1900s. Whenever colleges came along, if you notice, a lot of colleges were established in the late 1800s. And that's where that comes from. And people are okay with it. Does that make it right? Because people will challenge it? No. Does it make it? Is that what people really want? Do they have a choice? No. Do they even make you realize that that's the association? No. See, there's a lot of inside jokes in college football and in the NFL. And when you go to the Cotton Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, you shouldn't be surprised that they don't want Coach Prime to be one of the head coaches, right? So, the NFL to me is a model corporation, but it doesn't act like one. A model corporation will never be able to getting away with during the interview process defaming one of its candidates. In fact, they would know to just say, hey, we're not trying to end up in no legal trouble here. Let's just go ahead on and pass on this candidate. We should not hire him and then use his dad as a scapegoat to explain why we are emotionally abusing him, publicly humiliating him, and why we have given everybody that works here, at least 2,000 people, his phone number so we can mock him and make fun of him on his last interview or as we announce who we're going to hire. There's rules and regulations to this, and they're not following none of them. Why? Who they connected to? That's it. So I can do whatever the hell I want to in the draft and not build winning teams. And if I can, because I have a $10 billion valuation, not chase the Super Bowl and make money off of everything else, and I don't care about the Super Bowl. If those two areas and media is the third one, then I'm doing what the hell I want to do. Because it was the NFL media who said Shedeur didn't get to pick his jersey because he's a fifth round draft pick. It was also the NFL's media who did what? On CU Pro Day. Oh, he's tapping the ball. They were so negative about Shedeur. So you have the NFL media being negative about Shedeur. You have the NFL draft trying to humiliate him publicly, right? And devalue him and kick him out the draft, but not tell him, right? And you trying to tell me that they use normal business strategies when it comes to curating their audience for the media? Hell no. No. It's no different than college with the Cotton Bowl and Sugar Bowl pissed off at Coach Prime because how dare he want to coach amongst the elites? So how dare Shedeur think that he can be pro ready amongst the elites when who they consider elite is outdated? Aaron Rodgers is outdated. They talk about Flacco like he don't have to play against another team's defense. Aaron Rodgers too. They talk like neither one of them played football last year and both had abysmal seasons. I've watched them manipulate the stats when it comes to the top five, I guess you could say, quarterbacks available in free agency. They listed it by yards, just like they listed Shedeur and Flacco by jersey number. When you put it at QB rating, Russell Wilson was top two. Then Aaron Rodgers was at the bottom with Kirk Cousins. Just like in Cleveland, they didn't even have it by last name. They had real numbers and stats by this perceived ranking of quarterbacks. QB 1, 2, 3, and 4, when actually Flacco is QB 3 on the depth chart. And when you ranked it by the stats, Shedeur was the best. So is it a wonder that Russell Wilson reached out to Shedeur? No. And it's not a wonder that the top three primetime slots go to teams where the quarterbacks are owed the most money. The man above. Thank you for that. Facts. Yep. It says, since when is accuracy not one of, if not the best traits of a QB? When Shedeur getting ready to be number 17 in the draft, they never even devalue that with Shedeur. These folks crazy, right? They even devalued that with Shedeur, right? Because the key word is we just needed to devalue Shedeur. See, I'm telling y'all get ready to see something that you're not used to seeing. Did you expect number 47 to show up and call them people stupid? No. We get ready to see something, not necessarily the same thing, but something on this side. What I mean is headed into preseason, somewhere between rookie minicamp and the first game, because they got away with it. The NFL got away with everything they wanted to do to Shedeur in the draft. They executed the prank, right? It's not a prank. They executed or they publicly humiliated him. They gave out his phone number to 2,000 people to make sure that happened. They lied and said it was the Falcons. It was not. And they never came back and paid a fine or cleared that up. They said it was the defensive coordinator's son, but that might not be the case at all. Because the defensive coordinator's son didn't have a piece of paper he was reading from. The guy with the Ole Miss sweatshirt with the connection to the New York Giants at the quarterback position is the one that had the paper. So maybe they trying to distract you and make you think it was the Falcons because you would think it was about Coach Prime because he played there. Instead of the reality is this is about who has a connection to what? Ole Miss and the New York Giants at the quarterback position. And that ain't even hard to figure out. They try to deflect you from that, which means they shielding somebody else, which is why you don't know who that was sitting there with that Ole Miss sweatshirt on. But somebody could tell you he's in a fraternity. If you could tell me he's in a fraternity, you could tell me which one and you could tell me his name. Have you heard it? Because they protected that side. And they're willing to throw under the bus the Falcons and the defensive coordinator and his family and his son. Now, what if something happens to his son? And it's really these New York Giants folks over here. Jacksonville, oh, the one percenters. Yeah. Nobody said anything about the Jets, so I didn't put them in the equation. I didn't say the Jets need to be first. What I said was the normal course of business is Philadelphia won the Super Bowl and the fans went down there and everybody watched this. This was the highest rated halftime show and probably one of the best Super Bowls out there that fans loved and talked about for a long time afterwards. And Philadelphia has a very engaging fan base. And they showed up in New Orleans and they showed out in Philly. And you trying to tell me they should not have the number one slot. And you also gonna tell me that when you have the next generation coming in, and you have an audience to capture with the kids who want their products and the parents that's willing to pay it, that you're not going to put Travis Hunter and Shedeur out there, the number one and number two selling jerseys in the league, to capture the Philadelphia Eagles, which is the best, the market that follows the best and spends the money, and the next generation coming up in the NFL who's going to be around longer than Flacco and Aaron Rodgers. Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, respectively, 1 and 2. Yeah, okay. So it's not even about business, is it? So, that's all I want to say. This we are. This is gonna get very interesting. This is gonna get very, very interesting because everything the NFL is doing is in direct opposition to who they are. Let's see. This is sports, right? Where's the competitiveness? The draft wasn't built on talent. The teams aren't built to win. So you're taking something that people love. See, people say football is America's favorite pastime, right? So they're taking America's favorite pastime and they're destroying it because they can't stop black quarterbacks from taking over the league when it comes to the majority of the QB1s. The fact that they didn't even talk about that when they talked about it from 2010, 2021, I mean 2021, 2, 3, and 4. But they mentioned it at all. So when Shedeur said he wanted to change the culture, they heard something different. If they create a large enough audience, they will flex and show those games. How they gonna get the audience unless you show the game? So what's gonna have to happen is Jacksonville's gonna have to play somebody, and then you're gonna see what the numbers look like. Here's the thing: you already know this based on your jersey sales, who your next guys up are. Why you think they track the metrics of rookie jersey sales? For our entertainment? No. And what Shadua did was phenomenal. Something that they can't control. But they got him fourth on the depth chart. So they trying to say he famous, but he not that good. Well, now they can't say that. He's the best QB they have, and he's a celebrity. But they knew that already. So, that's it, guys. That's it. Something to think about. Something to think about. All the pillars of the NFL are coming together. And what you're seeing is nothing is geared toward, I guess you could say, winning and being successful in business. They just resting on their laurels. Um, They're not trying to target the next generation, which is the coveted 18 to 25, which is what Travis and Shador are. That's their generation. They don't even want them to bring their fans. Why? Because then if Shador bring his fans, it's happening. They're gonna have something to say. Travis bring his fans, and we the same people. They're gonna maybe if I know Travis didn't sign his contract, maybe if that was viral, then we would be looking at the league a little differently. That's why you don't know about it. Thank you, Demand. It said they always do that word culture. They hear blackness. Right. That's exactly what they think. What did they say about Coach Prime going to Colorado? He changed what? The culture. There was even a joke that they were saying, they saying Colorado is like a what? What did they say? Historically, it wasn't an HBCUW, it was HWCU. It's something. Because the guys that came out to visit, they're talking about the culture is really different there. See, when they say culture, they think us. So when Shador said he wanted to change the culture, they didn't hear what the hell he said. They heard what the hell they worried about, what they feel threatened about. That's what they heard. He was just a celebrity in their game. He was just hanging out with them in those rooms. So even before he said that, they knew he didn't want him. The NFL does not want quarterbacks like Shador Sanders now. The NFL insider to Mel Kiper Jr. You know what else Mel Kiper Jr. said? Mel Kiper Jr. said the NFL needs to get over itself because NIL is here to stay. You know what else the NFL needs to get over itself about? The fans want to see good football. And if that means that Cam Ward is 16 and Shador is 17, which makes the majority of black starting quarterbacks, the majority of all starters on 32 teams, and Milrow is 18, then that's what the hell the fans want to see. See, the fans want to see good football. The NFL is on some other shit. Understand that. So now you fighting with your fans. You ignoring this group. You ignoring this group. You surely don't want to do anything that encourages the 133 million that watch Kendrick Lamar. You don't even want to put on the Super Bowl winning team. You want to put on primetime TV with the most slots. Two black quarterbacks who, if most people don't know, they're not really black. Everybody don't know what we know down here in the South. Most people from Louisiana get it more than anybody. Ambiguously black, not actually black, but they all black. And neither one of them, I think, because their moms might not be. I know Pat Mahomes' mom is not black. I think that might be Dak's situation. So you're gonna see those two in Josh Allen. 7 of the 18 games. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. And because they got away with holding off Shedeur as QB1 by the draft by locking him out in the first round, they won. What they say, you might have won this battle, but you did not win the war. Facts. So stay tuned. All right, y'all. So we out of here. We are 51 minutes in. We did good. We did not go over an hour for lunch because we know people got to get back. This was excellent. I think it paints the picture of what people are seeing overall. You know, people are saying, did they allow Shedeur? Absolutely. We know that. And nobody has suffered any consequences from it. So that tells you it was intentional. It was allowed. And the NFL was in on it. Because who gave out his phone number and to how many people? Right. There you go. So, this season is going to be interesting. See, they want to do what they want to do, but they couldn't even keep Shedeur out the draft. And that was the plan. And that didn't happen, right? So now he had to go somewhere. He had to go to Cleveland. And they trying to hold him back to number 4. And we see he the best. So let's see what happens next. So they're not successful in keeping him at number 4 or burying him on the depth chart. Stay tuned. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get out of here. I got some coffee to go get. If you didn't watch Shedeur live on Twitch, go watch it. And definitely download the Twitch app. It's free. I heard the little kids even ask, "Do you want to download Twitch?" As far as I know, no. In fact, I'm on Twitch. I think there are 7 of us over there, which is awesome. I don't get over there all the time, but I might try to add that into my daily. So if you on Twitch, look for me on Twitch. I might try to go live there. I like to play Space sometimes, but I have a lot of topics set up for this week. So I might take one of those and have that conversation on Twitch. Darius from CU is letting people know he's live on Twitch too. Join him on Twitch. Shiloh, Shedeur. So, if you're a Buck fan, Joseph Williams now live on Twitch. I think other guys will join. LaJante's girlfriend, she did her blog that she's moving to Baltimore. She's really funny. If you like good content, Janae's Gallery, she's on, I think, all platforms. And, she's part of that 18 to 25 generation. The generation, they record everything. And she has good blogs. So go watch her. I don't think she's on Twitch, but I know she's on YouTube. And I know she's on TikTok. And I do believe she is on Instagram. And another thing you can see with this 18 to 25 group, right? Or 18 to 35, or 18 to 45. They on TikTok. They using that to express themselves, right? Instagram, in my opinion, has fallen behind, and people just put updates on there. Instagram is now Facebook, and if you know what I mean by that is the generation that's on Instagram is not the generation that's on TikTok. Remember how it used to be all these Instagram influencers, and then TikTok came along? That's where everybody is. TikTok, the sports community is on X. People are starting to join threads because it's like X, but not for sports for the most part. So, the audience are out there, and there's enough data to tell you who's doing what and who to go after. But the NFL is doing what they want to do. So let's see if they're successful with Barry and Shedeur Sanders, the best quarterback in Cleveland, on the bench this season, like they're trying to do Jalen Milroe in Seattle. All right, y'all, that's it. Thank you so much. Hit the like button for me. I appreciate you. We'll catch y'all later on. This was a good lunch and stream because people aren't talking about this. So just know that you one of the first to have this opinion and share the video. Talk to y'all later. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports.